Good evening, good evening, good evening. Sorry about that little gap there. It's last minute. Just got back in the house. We've been pretty busy this last couple of days, just to say the least. We've been nervously awaiting an answer for something which I'll talk about in just a few minutes here. I think I'm a few minutes late. I know I've been a few minutes late here and there. Video for Patreon I will have up tomorrow. We had some things we wanted to situate. Again, please check the page. I did post some stuff up there today. I already had videos up this morning, already uploaded for YouTube membership. Those are up. Patreon, you've already seen those videos, so you're not missing anything. New videos will be up tomorrow. Patreon's video, you're going to see every single item I sold in the last 7 days. Dollar for dollar, all the way out. It'll be an average week. I just picked last week. Had a couple of questions. I've had some other people bring that up. So that's going to be in Patreon. That's the video that you'll see tomorrow. We're going to talk about some things about that. We'll talk about averages. I'm going to give you some numbers and the whole on works in there. It's going to be an average week, what you would expect, hopefully. I'll get, excuse me, I've been talking on the phone and I've been doing a whole bunch of stuff this past week. May have thrown out my voice from talking so much. Let me make sure you can hear me all, just to make sure I'm not, yeah, I already got a bunch in the feed here. How's the internet at the farm? Mike, hey, how you doing, Artie? Mike, there is, I'll just say there's a major highway and there's towers, so worst case scenario, it would be through the phone, but there's satellite service available and it's comparable, and there's also one local, so I haven't talked to the local yet, so if I've talked to Patreon, they already know what's going on. We did acquire property as of today. The owner agreed, signed off on the paperwork, so all it has to go through is inspection and appraisal. It was a long journey. We looked at a bunch before we even got the realtor that we have right now. Nancy, she's done an awesome bang up job. She's been there with us when we got played. For those who saw the barn picture, let me tell you a quick story on the cutthroatedness of the home industry, real estate in general right now. In this area where I live in, we looked at a house. It was dropped in price and all that stuff. The house was an 8. You can look it up online. It's in Monclova. It's still there. House is sold, but anyway, we didn't get it. We had a bid in on it, but it was an 1860 built log cabin. A real one. And I looked through the records. We had my realtor, Nancy, she did all this work and she got the floodplain maps and all kinds of stuff. She went all out of the board. We were the only one bidding is what we were told. We put in an offer. I raised it. We raised it a good chunk, just trying to sweeten it and all. And there was a cat that was living there and stuff. The barn is on that property. There's a huge 3-story barn in there. We hope to get it. I would have loved to have lived the rest of my life out on this 6 acres on a river. Anyway, it was perfect. It had trees everywhere. It was the most treed lot I've seen anywhere for that size. But they called us, asked us if we would keep taking care of the cat that was living on this property because I guess it's been in the family since 1860. It's never had, there's no sales record ever on this house. And it's definitely well taken care of. It's all been redone outside. And so we said, yeah, of course. And then they called us back and said, hey, do you mind just letting them think about, think about it over the weekend. We'll let you know on Monday morning. Well, Sunday I get a call from my realtor. They sold it under us without even asking, we already would have went up. They already knew that. Didn't give us a shot, nothing. I was furious. The wife was in tears. We loved it. Had every single thing that I would ever want for a place to live. Historical. The house was awesome. It's a 2-story log cabin built with a huge attic. I mean, it was like a 3-story. The basement in this house was a rubble foundation that had already crumbled. It was just awesome. I would have pointed it all out myself, and I love doing that kind of stuff. It would have been a labor of love for the rest of my life. But anyway. Didn't get it. We got screwed on that. We got played. My real estate agent wasted hours of time, like 2 days on this whole thing, getting this putting the paperwork together. We signed off on 2 different sets. And anyway, it was a long ordeal. The wife was really upset. We were bitter about that because this is what we wanted. There was no other option. That was it. I didn't care about seeing anything, even if it needed work, even if the barn needed to, we were all set to do it. The family was all in and everything else. It was just, anyway. We did find something that we both love. It's a farm too, so we did sign it. It's got a 1,800 square foot building just for eBay. and it's a 17-foot roof, so I've got enough to do a second story, so we can get like 24 to 2,600 square feet of, at least feet of storage. It's just what we wanted. A semi can back up into this thing. It's a huge property. I mean, it's got everything that we wanted to. Not quite as historical. The house is well over 100 years old, but it was owned by someone. I won't go into details right now on who owned it, but the point was this thing was immaculately taken care of. Everything's new out there. I mean, it was just, I just can't believe the house is as old as it is. It just looks awesome. Anyway, we're pretty excited. We've been doing stuff with that, and we're gonna again revamp the whole thing. And in fact, this was the second best building that we've seen in all these months looking for something, and it's been low density foam spray coated. The entire thing is weatherproofed from top to bottom on this thing. It's just incredible for something that they did like this. And it's on a wind plane, and it was cold when we were there. Nancy and us were all standing out. My wife Marky was there, and it was really windy. We drove back out there a second time. We saw it within like maybe 6 hours of it being listed. It's only been up for 2 days, and we already got it. So, and we outbid the other person by a very small amount. We would have went up more. She set us up, man. I'm telling you, I'm not big on real estate, but I'll get to the chats in just a second here. I'm sorry, I don't want to miss anybody, but we're excited. We were in tears when she called and said yeah, because we thought we were going to get screwed. We had some little fiasco in the front with this one, which I don't want to talk about now, but I will talk about later. But Nancy she called me from lunch. She was eating with her family when we lost the one, so I mean, she was all in on it with us and stuff. And we drove out to this other one that just was up for the few hours. And anyway, it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's just what we want. It's a nice, all fenced in, and it's central air. Everything's already there. Brand new well, septic, everything for this house. The guy who owned it took immaculate care of it. I mean, he went overboard. Just the spray insulation in the building, our eBay building, cost almost 20 grand. It's low density. It's like this. It's like a rubber coating over the entire building. Not a screw, a hole, nothing's going to get through this thing. I looked it up. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't some highly flammable, dangerous thing, but I looked this stuff up. It's something new. They've only had it out for a few years and stuff. There's a couple pictures of the building in Patreon for those who are interested. I'll post a couple if anybody's interested on YouTube membership right after the show too. It's just been a real good day today, I have to say. The topic. The topic here, and some of you already know. Some of you already texted me and said, "Hey, I know what you're going to bring up. Patience." I always talk about goals. This is the topic today is why goals are important. Do you know how long we've worked on a goal to get what we're buying? 10 years. That's 10 years ago. I wrote that down on a piece of paper, and I just marked it off. After 10 years of doing this. So I'd rather be the tortoise than the hare. I'd rather have it all set up, and slow and steady to me is better than quick and crash, possibly. I don't like taking risks these days. Patience is the biggest thing. The wife and I never thought we'd get something like this. We've had places in the past. We lost the house, so we tanked us with Hurricane Katrina and stuff. So it was bitter with the whole house thing for us. I don't know about everybody else. I know we didn't have some fancy house in Mississippi. It wasn't anything fancy. We rebuilt it, we redid it, and then a hurricane destroyed everything we did. I couldn't even live in it because of so many trees. I couldn't even get there for a month because of all the trees were down. This was we were living in Mendenhall was the name of the city. Congress Street, I think, is the name of the street, if I remember right. There was a hardware store at the end. Our property was part of the edge of our property back there in Mississippi where the train depot was, which was really awesome because we found an old Lunkenheimer train whistle, a real train whistle that was out buried in the ground out near some brick building that used to be on our property over there. But anyway, we lost all that. We lost all the invested money, everything. Our insurance company screwed us over. They wouldn't pay us any money. FEMA gave us $4 grand to fix a $25,000 damage to the roof and the walls, and a tree hit it. Anyway, long story short, I don't want to ramble on. I know I'm rambling. I know I missed a few super chats. I do apologize. Let me get those. So I'm terrible on stuff like that. I don't always pay attention to the feed. I do apologize. It's just me. Auction Monkey, thank you very kindly. For us, it's incredible news. The wife and I just hugged, and it was just, it was awesome. And I can tell you without a doubt that the only way this came about, and why there's no reason to give up. This is still doable right now in this time frame. Is if it wasn't for eBay, I wouldn't have the cars, I wouldn't have the house. It's all reselling. I work a lot. I work a lot. I don't have to, but I do work a lot. I earn this money. I earn it more so than when I worked for somebody else as a general manager working 60 plus hours a week. So good things can happen to people if you put in the time and the effort to do it. I don't slack off. I take everything seriously. I get people mock me and stuff all the time, which I don't care. They can say whatever they want. They can make up fantasy stories about me and the wife or whatever. I don't care. I know what's going on in my life, and that's what makes me happy. Again, patience. I never said this we wouldn't be able to get this or get that. We're already looking for some property down in Logan, Ohio, right now for next year to buy. So like 10 acres, something closer towards Hockin Hills area, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. But that's our next step, and that's already on my board as soon as we crossed off that house, and property. The eBay building, it's just... It's bigger than a house. The last house we lived in at one point was small. All my stuff is basically in my father's old wood shop. So, I still have that, but we'll be able to put everything together at one point. We're going to order, $1,000 worth of 4,000-pound industrial heavy shelving before we even put foot in the building. It's all going to be done. We're going to frame it and the whole work. So, anyway, it's been a great day. And again, all because of reselling. All because of reselling. Look at, I'm again, for those in Patreon, YouTube membership will see that video as well too. But those in Patreon, tomorrow is the last 7 days of my sales. That's it. That's all it's going to be. Every single item I sold, you can add them up. You can do whatever you want with those numbers. But that's what's going on in Patreon's video tomorrow. It's already shot. I just haven't had a chance. I had to kind of step out before the show for a few hours and take care of a few things. Again, Patreon, we've already talked about that. There's several posts up just today. I did post something for YouTube membership. There's something that just sold real quickly, and it's all here from my local area. I talk about local sourcing. That's one of those items in that post that's on there too. So it's something we were very happy to sell. I got 100 more of those in that same general area, so you'll see what it sold for. You can estimate $15, $20 average on 100 cards, and that's about what we're going to get out of the whole thing. But well, thank you, Leland and Cindy. I do honestly appreciate it. Again, never necessary for things like that. I appreciated Auction Monkey and Leland. Today we've been on cloud nine, because it's been a very long time coming. I work in a very cramped space. Part of the reason there's a green screen here. I've talked about it in the earlier days if you've been following me for a while. So for me to have the space, to be able to get the amount of inventory I have in our facility, everything's just shelves, wall to wall. The wife calls it the dungeon. I've brought that up before. So it's going to be nice. We're going to build a huge table that's like 10, 15 feet square for the middle, and we'll be able to use it to stand on and to anything we want. We're going to build shelving around. You guys are going to get to see some of the actual collections that we've had in storage. Like the wife's Weebles. So Marty, if you're around there, we're going full steam into all that stuff that we've been waiting on. Space, I've tried to eliminate some of the stuff so we can have space to do it, but thank God we found a house. So we're at this point, I don't have to worry about anything. And the house is much bigger than where we're living in now, and the building is huge. It's as big as a lot of people's houses. For those you saw, that's 17 feet in the middle of that, and it's like 54 feet long. I think we measured it. It's pretty big, and it's big enough to park a dozen plus cars in there. I mean, it's a big building. So that's what we wanted. That's what everywhere we've looked had to have property. A big building, something that's in good condition and stuff. I've been talking about this, but it's finally here. So if you've been following me, I've brought this up for 9 months. I think that's literally how long it's taken us. On and off, the market's been up and down and stuff, and at this point, we know the value of the house prior to us. Anyway, we've looked into it all. I'm maybe you can't tell, but I'm really happy about what happened today. So, let me just get to old to new treasures. Well, thank you very, very, very kindly there. I greatly appreciate that. Old to new treasures, good name. Let me pop back up here. Again, let's pop back to the topic here. if you don't have patience, how can I word this without being, I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm being, people call me names for saying stuff like that. I don't want people to think I'm trying to be, there's the only difference between me and someone else, or you and someone else, or you and anybody else. You and anybody else is, you're all different. Everybody has their own take on things. The only difference though between doing well and selling and bringing in the money and not is just the time you've been doing this, in my personal opinion. There's a lot of people who are doing better than I was in their first year, 15, 20, 30, well, almost 30 years ago now, in their first year than I was back in the day when it was Wild West, when you could sell anything. It took a while for me to get the hang of it. I wasn't into computers way back 30 some odd years ago when what was it? Yahoo Auctions, I think, is the first ones we used to do way back when they were message boards. Big Red Toy Box. Cinyscape was the other one, which was a movie and collectibles website, and there was a couple other dozen boards that we used to mess with before eBay. There wasn't a site, so you couldn't do it back in those days. You had to do it on message boards and stuff. Even some of the local ones we used to sell and swap and stuff. Garage sales I went to in I would have to say it was before, in 1976 was probably my first garage sale that I can remember, because my mom used to take me in the summer and stuff along, so she wouldn't have to pay for a babysitter. So me and my brother got drug along, for 4 hours on, I think it was Wednesdays, in the old wood side paneled station wagon. If you know what I'm talking about, the real big boat ones with the fake wood finish. It was a green station wagon. I still remember it. And it had that dark green interior. I don't know the brand. I couldn't tell you. I was too young, but I remember there's a picture of it. Maybe one day, for those in Patreon and YouTube membership, I'll show some old pictures from when where I grew up and stuff like that. I still have pictures of my first dog when he was a tiny little, it was a beagle. His name was Barney Beagle. I remember picked him out. But anyway, I know we're rambling now. David Crosby, I didn't see that. That's sad. Let's see where we at. RD Sales. Well, thank you. Get RD Sales. A duplex scanner is a game changer. And I am not kidding. There's very rare that I don't promote anything that I don't think really works. I don't want your money by promoting something. So you don't see promotions, only because I don't do anything just to get money from somebody. I want to give you an honest and fair service. The duplex scanner, though, it's the best scanner for anything paper that I've ever had. I've got an old one, too. In fact, we've got two of them. I bought one in case that one breaks down or I can't get one reasonably priced or whatever. It's a DS510 scanner is what it is. Anything newer than that has the same features and options. You can add a border around every single image that scans through there. It scans both sides of our cards, anything paper, up even 8x10s we do in there, without glare. It scans both sides. Depending on the DPI you do, it can go so fast you can't even feed it. And you can set stacks on there. I don't like setting stacks personally. You just have to line it up. And it takes one of my guys here sometimes a couple moments to get the rhythm down, because you got to move really quick, even at a 300 to 600 DPI. So I would always recommend, if you do paper of any kind, a duplex scanner. There's a slight chance that something could get damaged. So if it's an expensive card, we scan them on the V600, the Epson V600. These are both Epsons. They also, the best part is they both use the same app, Epson Scan, so you can get add-ons for free online that add in other features to that will work on both of them. We've got the V600 scanner is the next best scanner for stuff. It does both sides. So it's if you've got negatives, it's got a light on the top. So you can scan negatives, glass plate negatives. I've got a whole stack of glass plates from Ohio State from like 1920. And I've scanned some. So those in Patreon have seen exactly what I'm talking about. There was a pumpkin patch and then some of the buildings, maintenance rooms and stuff inside the campus from the 1920s. But I got prints actually of those same ones too. But those two scanners, the V600 series and the DS double side, basically, I guess, or duplex, I think is what the DS stands for. I don't know, maybe all of them, the duplex work as well, but the Epson, from what I've never had a problem with mine. I've even ran staples through there by accident, and it didn't mess up, and it still works fine. And because you can set the thickness in two different spots. There's actually a connection inside the DS if you get the Epson Scan to set it up for thicker stuff. So I've had people tell me, well, I won't do this, I won't do that. And as soon as they went inside, there's also a lever, which I hate to call it names, but somebody else pointed out, hey, this lever, and I always forget, but there's a lever on the machine itself to adjust the thickness, as well as settings in there. So if you adjust them, there's like 4 different options. So you can get thick stuff through there too. We've scanned like big, thick, what is it? The ice cream lid things with like Hopalong Cassidy and stuff. I've scanned those in there, and those are thick. Those are like double the size, some of those, or double the thickness of a postcard, and it's never jammed. I almost never have a jam with anything, and the carrier sheets work great in there. If you know what a carrier sheet is, we scan a lot. Most stuff scanned paper-wise, almost everything. Yeah, I'm surrounded by records right now. You have to excuse me. Yeah, great one. Glad to hear you got one. Those are the best thing. I'm telling you, if you got paper and stuff. Caleb Stone, how you doing? Is it just me or our eBay sales? Those in Patreon, you'll see, I don't think it's slow at all. We've been listing like mad. We've listed 1,000 listings almost this week alone, just on the count that I share. And anybody can check that out themselves. But we've been roller coaster ride of sales. Our deposit went from eBay on the 17th, and before the next morning, and it was a large deposit, several thousand. And the next day, we already had that much already waiting for the next week's deposit. So I'm telling you, the sales have been very, very good for us. But we've been hammering it. I've been hammering the store left and right. As soon as we did promote it and then stopped it, this is just been crazy. I'm not exaggerating. You'll see it for those in Patreon, but it's not the best week we've ever had, but for this time and for all this stuff that's going on, all you got to do is multiply what that week is times 4, and it gives you a pretty good idea of number-wise. And we sell on many platforms. I'll buy it. eBay does a good chunk of it, but, we sell a bunch that equals a big chunk of change, too. So, anyway, everybody's not going to be busy. We've got a ton of listings. We're heading towards 31,000 right this moment. And I hope to be by the end of this month at the 32,000 mark. And then hopefully from there, we're going to push it to 40,000 before summer. I'm shooting for 100,000. I know we've said it before, but we're done. We're not playing around anymore, and things are going great. Let me talk about one more thing, and I know a lot of people don't give this enough credit, and they pay your taxes, report all of your income, because when we walked into the bank, they were dying to get us in there. And the rate that they gave us is far cheaper than you can get anywhere because of our credit score. Because we always do the right thing. We've been banking there for 10 years. You want your income to be as good as you can if you want the leverage. I hate renting. I hate the fact that I can't tear down a wall, or I can't do this, or I can't do that, or whatever the case may be. The people could sell the house from under you. Whatever the case may be. The only way you're going to be able to get help from the bank, for the bank to do whatever, we're putting down a very large, almost 6-digit deposit. I'm telling you straight out. And our credit's good. They've offered us a whole bunch of stuff. House isn't like some massive, $500,000 house and property. I'm frugal, but it's very nice, tip-top. But you've got to handle your business professionally if you want to be able to advance it. If we didn't do this, right now, we're being held back by the ability of space. We've been going back and forth. I've sold some inventory just to clear up space. I've got so much god-awful inventory, a couple 100,000 records, and on and on and on and on. At this point, we don't have to anymore. The space is there now. It alleviated so much problems for us. We can bring in some employees, more employees. There'll be room. We can line up counter. I mean, the possibilities are there, and if I wouldn't have handled my business correctly, if I wouldn't have taken it seriously, meaning if I've got to work 80 hours, I'm doing 80 hours, I wouldn't be here. I've earned, and I hate to say it this way, but every damn dime that I have, I worked and sweated for it. No one gave me a silver spoon or a loan or anything else until right this second. Our vehicles we saved up, we paid cash because I don't want to do anything. We're getting a very short-term loan for this too, for this house. It's at least going to be a third than most people would get, just to tell you, because I'm going to get it done. And I'm not going to go on our goals here. Maybe if we have an open chat in Patreon, I'll talk about some more. But again, I couldn't do this without having it all set up. My realtor knew we were dead serious because you got to send your realtor all the paperwork. Our realtor was awesome. Again, I have to say Nancy did a good job. Stuff I've never heard of. I worked for a real estate company way back when I was 17 for a couple of years, and almost got a real estate license back then. But we did a appraisal gap, which I'm glad we did. We did what was the other one that we did? I can't think what it's called. But we set an amount, and then we had where we could go up so much to beat the person's up into a set amount. Anyway, I can't remember the name she called it. I'll have her in a video here. Anyway, it's good to have someone in the real estate industry who you feel is honest and trustworthy, and I really think Nancy was. She did a great job for us. Anyway, I know I'm rambling now, but I'm very thankful for our spot we're in right now, just to be honest. Yeah, Stardust Memories, they are slow. The best thing I can tell you is it depends on what you sell. We've been holding back. I took some time off in December. We didn't list nearly as much, and now we've been busting it. I've been busting it because by the time we sign, we're going to be able to put even more of a deposit down. That's what we're looking for now. We're like, let's if I can get half to the halfway mark in deposit, I'm fine. Because it will just mean a few years and boom, we're done paying for this thing. But anyway, I'm busting it. I'm not playing around anymore since my goal was hit. My biggest goal for the last 10 years we hit today. And again, I'm just like beside myself. I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep ranting on about it, but I'm just... good things come to those who wait. That's all. And again, it comes right back down to patience. I'm a very patient person. Relax and resell. Well, thank you. Are You Bizarre? Thank you as well. Leland, was my best week ever on sales. Sorry, been rocking. Again, it's been rocking here. The numbers we're hitting are fairly solid. And this is just from this store. I've got 2 eBay accounts, just FYI. We got a third one, but I don't do much on there. And then I've got Etsy, Walmart, Amazon, Hip, a few other sites which I'm not going to go into here, but yeah. And this week, last week, the last 4 weeks, last 8 weeks have been really solid. They're in this last week was pretty solid. Let's just say you'll see it in Patreon, and then next week, beginning of the week, or maybe even this weekend, I'll put it out for YouTube membership too. But Stardust Memories, but I haven't been listing much the past few weeks. 5 days a week. Man, I've been testing everything because I'm not... I take eBay changing stuff and the logarithm and search results and all that stuff. I take it as a challenge. I take it as a game. I take it as we're playing a board game of Risk, and the other guy's pretty smart, and they're trying to screw me and ruin it so I lose the game and all. And I'm not saying eBay's that bad or nothing. I know they have been in the past, but the point is that I treat it as a game. We've been testing everything. 5 days a week is what you need to look at, in my personal opinion. I think that's honestly, if you're doing 5 days a week and listing a solid amount, 30 items if you're small, that's great. We've been listing like 250 bare bones minimum, I think, each day somewhere as we're doing it. Every single day now, and more. The wife's listing right now. And we've been listing like a lot. I mean, a lot. We've got 1,000 listings up in just a matter of, it's not even a week. And the sales have been rocking. I mean, skyrocketing. I mean, we've had a lot of 900 plus days in just the last couple weeks. I mean, I usually only average a $800-900 day, maybe once every week, maybe if we're lucky. Sometimes it's more than that. We've had where it was $700-800 every day. That's on the account that I share. We've got a combined total, so usually we hit more than those numbers. But the point being, if you're listing five days a week, eBay is opened up the floodgates for us, I have to say. Even if I've stopped relisting and ending and selling similar as much, we slowed it down a little bit because I haven't needed to take the time to do it anymore because the listings have taken up the gap. So when we want to slow off on listings, then we're going to start seeing if the end and sell similar work better that way. But the sales, man, all the new stuff is we're selling at like 8-9% of everything we list is selling right now, and we're listing a lot. So it's going fairly well. I changed stuff up. This may stop working in 2 months. This may stop working in 3 weeks, but I don't see it coming. I've got enough to list, 250 items minimum every single day of the week for like 10 years or more. So I'm not too worried. You know, the counter space. We're going to have counters that are, 20 feet long. I'll build them myself. I got all the stuff out there. I've got everything. I can't wait to get into that, to have it the way I want it, to set it up to work the best for us. Does seem to affect things for me. Sorry. Yeah, Leland, same thing. We're listing that. There's no way around it. You can stop though. As long as you're listing a consistency, if you stop or take 3 or 4 days off, you're going to be just fine. You won't get that increase from the new listings, but all the other stuff is still out there showing. Let's talk about this. I get criticized. Well, you got a huge store. Well, I only had one listing just like everybody else at one time. And we started off with just me for 3 years. So don't say anybody can't. Don't say that, you can't do this. Anybody can do this with the right amount of time and effort. The take on this is the big stores usually have put in the effort and put in the time to get to that point to be a big store. I didn't just wake up, and we've been doing this for 17 years or something, longer than that, but 17 years, almost 16 years, almost full time. So, I mean, we've put in the time. I'm not just cranking out, I'm started yesterday and I got this big store. So I've earned the right to have a big footprint online by spending the time to put all those darn listings up, to figure out what they are, to price them. And just like everybody else takes time to price stuff, I have to too. I have to take the time to put it up. Yeah, we've figured out shortcuts. We know prices on the stuff that we sell because we try to sell the same thing, because it removes research. If you sell in the same type of niches, after a while, you won't have to research. So if you're spending 40% of your day researching, you're blowing a lot of time. So that's why we stuck in. We took the hit in the beginning when we didn't know enough about the items and took all that time, and we wasted a lot of time. But once you know certain items in collectibles, it's easy as can be, easy as pie, to expand, because there's so many similarities to so many items in the collectibles field. It's just that simple. Once you get some of it, it comes really easy, because you're talking about the same principles, the same aspects of it. I've earned the right to have a lot of listings up to get the sales, but it's not, I don't see eBay giving me a bonus because I have a big store. I honestly and sincerely, and if you know some of the rants I've done on eBay, I'm not a big super fan of how they do stuff at all, or the management, or none of that stuff. They make terrible decisions all the time. But the point being, I don't at all think that they are treating me any different. In fact, I would say they probably ghost me more, because I've talked about them, in a bad light in their mind by saying truthful things. Again, I feel that it all comes down to, and I swear this is how I feel, to the amount of effort you put in. And again, I'm not saying that everybody's not putting up enough listings, but I've spent an ungodly amount of time researching stuff that I had no clue on for years, multiple years, knowing that it was hurting me back then. It took longer to get to here because of that, but I was patient enough to keep looking up a record that I probably have looked up 4 times until I could actually remember that I never have to look it up again. I'm serious. I don't think that there's any secret that's pinned this person. I do think they ghost listings, but only based on time frames. I don't think it has anything to do with you, me, or Joe Schmo down the street, or whoever we're talking about. I think it's just a mere fact of they want fresh merchandise. If you work at a grocery store, everything's front and faced, whatever you want to call it in your region, but front face when you pull all the stuff up. Produce department, you never leave one or a couple of anything sitting there. It always has to be full, so it always looks fresh. It's the same basic thing that eBay's doing, FIFO and all this kind of stuff. So I don't honestly think that eBay's sitting there screwing anybody specifically, at least not anymore, not for the last couple of years. Maybe when the last CEO was there, yes, including me personally, for doing stuff, and Ina and David, but anyway, I don't think they're screwing anybody. Maybe, let me rephrase it. I don't think they're intentionally screwing people. I think it's a product of what they've done with the changes, because they don't understand what they're doing. It's my take on it. Again, that's my opinion. But again, I know we haven't had as many employees. One of my sons works as he's a research and develop. He's an engineer with a major solar company, and he does research and development. He's in his own building, and he's a chemist. My son, anyway, and the other one's got his own thing going too. And some of the employees, I've got a couple employees still, so don't get me wrong, but one's going to graduate from the aeronautics over here too at the airport and stuff. Me and my wife have done most of those 1,000 listings ourselves. So and that's just in a few days. So it's effort. I want this more than most people that I know. Even people who are resellers they're more cutthroat. They're not sometimes very nice with how they do things. I'm the nice person that would just rather take his time, and I'm okay waiting a little longer for something. That's why that's why we've sourced different ways now. I don't go to estate sales hardly ever, or any of that stuff, because around here people are just rude, obnoxious, and cutthroat. A lot of them, not all of them, of course. I'm not trying to stereotype everybody, but it's all gimme, gimme, gimme. I want to make all the money and stuff, and I was done with that, and we figured out a different way to do it. End of story. But anyway, it all comes down to, do you want to work 7 days a week? It's up to you. Again, I just did a video on that from yesterday. That's the truth. If I work more, I make more. Every single time I do it. 100%. I swear to you on my life, if I work and put more stuff up on eBay, I'm always, 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 always going to make more money. If I don't put stuff up for a couple days, I'm not going to make that extra money from those new items, but my sales still keep flowing in. It takes a day or so for your listings to sort through the system and them to fan out where people will see them more regularly, and they'll show up more. I'm sure eBay waits for information from enough search results to throw your stuff out to, when someone searches for this keyword or that keyword. I've looked into all that stuff. I took database design and construction. I could build an eBay if I really, really wanted to. I passed in flying colors. I have an IT degree, but I understand how it works. I don't see that they're throwing in a wrench to screw people over intentionally. It's just a product of their lack of understanding on what they're trying to do, is my opinion. And that's it. That's eBay's biggest problem. They don't think, they don't ask, they know it all. They hire somebody off the street who doesn't know how to resell as a coder. And it would be good if someone like me, or there's Craig, a Landshark picker or somebody like that who does write his own stuff. He knows how to do. I took quite a few computer languages. I can write stuff. I'm awesome in stuff. I could do my own web pages and stuff. But someone like us who's a reseller should be the ones they should look out to. Someone who knows how that part works, the IT part works, and understands what reselling is to people. This is my life. This is how we do everything, reselling. I don't know about everybody else, but reselling's, the majority of all income is reselling. Reselling vintage and collectibles or NOS or FBA if I have to. I don't care. Oh, too, the house is close to a drop-off for Amazon. Really close. So no more shipments at all. They built a new facility, and I'm all straight with that. So I don't ever have to send an FBA for most everything. And I can drop it off. I've already checked on it. So, and I can not have to spend money on expensive boxes and anything else. I'm done. That's another plus. Yeah, I know I've ranted. Does seem to affect. I'm going to miss Meatloaf and Jeff Beck. Yeah, Jeff Beck wasn't bad. Meatloaf's okay. I only remember him from Rocky Horror Picture Show, I guess. And By the Light of the Dashboard or whatever. He's okay. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not my type of anything. Nothing wrong with him personally. Averaging about 3 sales a day for about a week or so, and have only listing 12 items in about 2 weeks. Yesterday someone bought almost 30% of my whole store. Didn't even ask me to combine shipping or anything. Best day since I started selling ABRD sales. Well, congrats. That's a good one. Crickets today, though. It's the same person who bought it. It'll probably drop back to the normal. I don't think if you get a bunch of sales, I talked to a lot of people. I don't think if you get a bunch of sales, eBay shuts that gate off for you. Again, it's the luck of the draw. Who's looking for what at which day? I sell stuff that most people don't look for. One reason why I don't advertise my items on here in my store, you can get it if you watch my videos. I got it plastered in many of my videos, my store name. I don't hide it. A lot of people know who it is. I get emails occasionally, which I don't want emails unless you're in my Patreon or something. I don't mind that at all. There's a person who sent me a helpful note the other day through there. But anyway, I don't read most of those. The kids tell me if something comes in. So just FYI. Don't email me through eBay. Chances are you won't get a response unless I know you. Anyway, just because I try to keep it to work, but I totally lost my train of thought now. Anyway, I don't think eBay's doing anything to throttle your sales if you get a good day. If we list every day good items, every single day our numbers stay really solid. I don't know. I could swear to you over whatever you want. That's the truth. That's what happens. That's what happens. I'm done playing. I'm never going to do promoted listings again. I don't care what anybody else does. That's going to be saturated at some point where so many people are doing it, it's going to be pointless. The only take is what we sell. It's very unique, very specialized items that I don't need to promote. There's only 2 of them on all of eBay. It's either buy it from me or buy it from somebody else with lesser feedback. Where are you going to go? We tried to monopolize on a certain amount of categories, smaller, but yeah, we just picked a bunch of them now. We can't do it on one specific niche. Somebody had made a comment, and this isn't anyway disrespectful. He wanted to sell buttons and stuff and thought about getting into that. I sell on average $2,000 worth of buttons a month. Never hid that. I can't live on buttons the way we're doing it now. Yeah, if I wanted to list buttons all day long, I probably could make 5,000-8,000. I guess would probably be about the max I'd be able to get in a month because it takes time. Same people can only afford to buy so many items from me in a month. So if I put up, just like anything you list in the special niche categories, I've had people bottom out. They couldn't buy anymore. We had some tobacco items that sold just the other day. We made $800 just on a couple cards, and the guy couldn't afford it anymore. He told me, "Is there any chance you'd hold?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't hold. No disrespect to anybody. It's once it's up, it's up. I don't take anything down. Ever. It's up, and I'm done. I don't split up lots. If they want one thing out of that lot, they can buy the whole lot. I might give the whole lot at a discount, but I'm not going to, break anything up. So anyway, people will bottom out on how much they can spend. I know probably 20 or 30 different people who buy from me on a week or every other week basis. I know how much they're going to spend ahead of time. They invest set amounts every week or every 2 weeks or once a month or 3, 4, 5 times a month. I've got somebody who buys from me 3 days a week, and he's never once asked me to combine. I actually emailed him and went back and forth, and I offered him, hey, because I constantly refund the difference and all that. But anyway, I don't. If somebody pays for 2 different items and doesn't ask to be combined, I still combine and refund the difference every single time. And I would recommend anybody else out there doing the exact same thing. Don't wait for them to do it. Do it ahead of time. They'll know you're an honest and responsible person, and they'll respect that. You will get them back to your store. I had some photos. I showed him in a short, like a 1-minute thing the other day. They were from the Golden Horde from, I think, 1951. Person bought all 6 of them. There was some staining on it, and I called it to the attention of the guy wanting them. The minute I start, when I start to take offers, I always make sure the item's there, and it's in okay condition still. It's the same condition because sometimes stuff's in storage for 5 years. You want to make sure it's still good. So I texted him or I emailed him through eBay and I said, hey, there's some staining on it, blah, blah. He said, oh, no, I'm used to that. And then I went and looked at it again. I said, well, it's this, that. I just want to make sure that you can see it on the front of it a little bit. And he's like, oh, no. They're rare enough. You got a great price, blah, blah, blah. And he was happy. He left me flying colors on that. I wasn't trying to do anything other than save him from getting something that he might not be happy with. There was a card the other day. Somebody bought 4 cards from us, and one of them had a corner that broke off in the time frame it took us to get it out to the time frame we wrapped it. And I emailed him. I apologized dearly, and I offered it to him at 75% discount from his bid. Just bare bones minimum. He couldn't get it anywhere else, even with the corner because of the issue. He was happy. He was very nice. He's been back ever since still. So again, I try to do the right thing, and that's going to take you farther than anything else. And being patient about it, building the reputation in the fields. The guys, there's 3 people who have written that their names are on every guidebook in the niches we sell in that buy from us. The guys who write the books. We'll be on that book list real soon here. But anyway, once we're there too, once we move on over to the big eBay building, we're going to be doing a lot more stuff. You wait and see. There's going to be a lot more stuff going on. And time frame will be a lot easier and all kinds of other stuff too. So space, there won't be any more consideration, no noises, and it's separated from everything else. It's its own freestanding building, and it's a big building. So anyway, let's see here. RD sales. I have enough to list, just waiting on the scanner. There you go. I'm telling you that scanner, the duplex scanner, is a gift from above, in my opinion. Hey Jeff, how you doing, Mr. Loftus? Good to see you in house tonight. Hope things are going well down there in the cold section of the state. Thank you, Marty. Thank you very kindly, Marty. I really wanted that barn. I really wanted that log house. The wife and I were. She was in tears. Let's just say that, because we thought we had it. No one's gonna. I mean, even the our agent Nancy went all. She had all the paperwork in. Everything was perfect, and we did everything they asked, and we came back up with a nice. We increased the offer. They knew we had money. We were ready to go, and man, I was so. I didn't want to do anything for a couple days, because that would have been the dream of my life to live in. It had the low ceilings. It had big exposed beams. You can look at it, as I said. It's online, I'm sure. Again, for me, the country style was perfect. It was just what I had, and the best part I liked about living in the South. The land at this log cabin reminded me of we had 60 acres in Mississippi. We lived in Hickory, Mississippi, and it reminded me that there was a river in the back, all the woods, and it was historic. Andrew Jackson's patrol, or his after Battle of New Orleans, they camped on our property over there, and it was similar. There was anyway, I'm not going to get a bunch of details in that aspect. It was perfect, but at least for me. I know some other people might not think so, but Antiquarian Bookman, well, thank you. Vintage Indiana, how are you doing? Let me pop on down here. Jim and Julie, how are you two doing? Hopefully you're doing well. We are doing great. Congrats on the house. Are you guys moving our direction? It's south. Hit me up, and I'll give you a generalized area. I don't want to give it out until we get it, because there's somebody still obviously there for right now. But anyway, it's closer to where we've met up at. I'll put it that way, by 15 more minutes. So anyway, it's right around the corner now. It's in the same basic county area, so as where we've met. So anyway. Hey Stephen, how you doing, Mr. Holton? Good to see you in. Okay, now let's address this aspect of it. Antiquarian Bookman, had to end over 100 listings for yearbooks until I can solve the USPS regional box issue and change my shipping method charges. I haven't used a regional box in probably 8 years or longer. I don't worry about it at all. I just wrap cardboard around a book, and it goes off in the cardboard, and that's it. Just a piece of cardboard, thick. It's double-sided on every spot of the yearbooks when we send them. Just like I send out sheet music, it goes out the exact same way, just thicker cardboard. And I've never had a problem. I don't worry about it. And again, with changing your shipping policies, if you don't have business policies, I recommend business policies for everybody. If I need to change everything in a specific category or items, I can instantly change them all at one time, and it takes seconds. I would honestly, that's a great feature, the business policies. I've had them for years. I use them. Any automation eBay has, I use. I have eBay leave automatic feedback too, which is a great option. I haven't left feedback personally in years, probably a decade or more, at all, because it automatically does it when they pay for their items. Once they paid, their part is done. I know some people wait till they get it, or some people wait till the buyer leaves it. I think it behooves the seller to leave it first, to make the first gesture, because someone took the time, came in your store, bought your items, paid for it. If you went into a store, that's their part. Yeah, sure, they could leave you something nasty later on, but that's the chance you take. It hasn't done us wrong doing it this way at all. But that's, again, my recommendations. Cardboard, just wrap it around some cardboard. I know people love the free cardboard. There's nothing wrong with that. If you go hunt around, people tell me all kinds of places they get free cardboard at. I just buy it because it's more convenient. By the time I spend gas and trying to get 100, 200 boxes that are 12-inch cubed, it's almost impossible. And the thing with the boxes is there's a guideline to cut it. I don't have to do anything. I don't need any tools, any guide marks or anything cut up one of those 12 by 12 boxes. Any other type of cardboard, I've got to do a line and a ruler and a straight edge. With the cardboard box, you need nothing but a steak knife and the box, and you can cut them up instantly in just a matter of seconds. It's the easiest thing to do. That's why we use the same size of box. In fact, a 12 by 12 cube box is I use one side of that box and one single section from 1/16 of a box to ship out yearbooks. That's all I use and have used for 20 plus years and never had an issue with one having damage or anything else. Again, I'm just putting that out there. If something else works great for you, that's great. Whatever works for you, this has worked for us forever. I don't ship anything prior, and if I do, I don't worry about the boxes. I charge for shipping though for everything. You know, I don't overcharge at all, other than like a 30-cent processing fee if I have to combine, or I think it's 35 cents we charge now. And then there's a 50-cent international processing fee. That's about it. That's it. That's the only extra I ever charge. And again, it says shipping and handling when it says what the fees are. Where are we at? Ralph Funk, how are you doing? Thank you. Hey, Matt Jake, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you in house as well. Where are we at? Dace, how are you doing? It is 1 a.m. here in the Netherlands. Well, welcome. I'm sure you know who Del Camp is then. Wiggy Q, welcome. Good to see you in too. Amazon Seller 99, welcome. Yeah, the building, thinking about Amazon, I can get a semi-truck up there. So I can get pallets if I really want to. Pallets of boxes will be the best, but anyway, that's the point. We made sure there's enough room for a semi to turn around on their own without going out on the main road in front of our eBay building. So I mean, it's I can park like 50 cars out there if I really wanted to. It's a big building. Moses Vale, how are you doing this evening? Welcome. Thomas Klein, welcome. Hey, Joe Samart, how are you doing this evening? Purple Cactus Sales. Well, good to have you in. Thank you. Yeah, I know. I did see that, Matt Jake. I was looking. I did pack. I just didn't call it out, but thank you. Mr. Hale, how's Bob doing? Good to see you in house, Mr. Hale. And thank you as well, Land. I saw Matt Jake's first, but yeah, thank you too. Barbara Teresa, Rihanna's Rem, how are you doing? This is a very good 2023 already, and it's only day 19, and a 10-year goal was hit. So, I mean, I'm on cloud 9. I'm going to be on cloud 9 until we walk in there, and I can't wait to put a wall up and do a bunch of stuff over there already. I want my counters in there and everything else. I already drew it up. I already drew up all the plans, matching it. I couldn't sleep. That's what I did for 2.5 hours. I laid it all out. I did the dimensions. I drew it all out there and figured out what we're going to do. Does Sabres carry vintage postcards? I would say no, but I have seen them there once or twice. Terry Larson, how are you doing? Marty, one of my daughters is a realtor. It's insanely cutthroat. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe it. I don't want to talk about current. I don't want anything to go haywire on this. I'll once this is all done, I'll throw some other stuff out there. Stardust Memories just bought a house in 2021. Yeah, we waited through last year. The prices have come down. We could have got one last year, but I shouldn't say we couldn't have. We've been looking for about 9 months. And we were kind of like on the fence. In the last 3 months is when we really put it in full gear, when the prices started to slow down. Anyway, they're still up. But I know what the house we bought sold for real recently, and we're not too far off. So I feel very comfortable. Again, I'm cheap. It's going to be a long time before anything ruins the value of this house just because of where it's at. I can look across and see cornfield for a mile. It looks, as far as the eye can see, it's corn. So I'm happy. Where are we at? Hey, Nick, thank you. Honestly and sincerely appreciate that. Postcard guy, welcome in. Thank you, Vintage Indiana. Teresa Smith, welcome. Mr. Hot Wheels, welcome as well. Good to see you, everybody in. Odds and Ends Hunter. Victoria Jocelyn Edgar. The yard is all fenced in with a real nice, very nice looking fence. It's like a compound almost, the front half of the property, and the dogs will have a good acre to run around in. So, I mean, it's all nicely pruned and everything. So we can't wait. Honestly, we were just talking about that because the wife bought one of those big, looks like a big T shape, and they kind of like, it's like a running thing. They can run through these tunnels. I don't know what they're called, but she bought one of those off Amazon. We can't wait to try it out outside and let the dogs run around. Because he's like Jack Russell Terrier mix or something, and man, that dog is hyper. He's all over the place. He's hilariously funny, as is Brimley too. Stunlon one, how are you doing? It's a long way from ramen noodles, Don. Congrats to you and your family. I know you've watched. I know you've been around. For the first couple years, I swear to you, the wife and I ate ramen noodles, and the kids ate good. We suffered. I suffered. We didn't eat. We didn't have a lot of money at all. It was selling an item to pay a bill for quite some time. The kids, had to, wear old clothes and stuff. We did what we had to. I'm not embarrassed to say that at all. We did what we had to. I know what it is to worry about food. I know what it is to do all that stuff 25 years, when our kids were small even. That hasn't been but 16 or 17 years ago when it was that rough. Again, I'm patient. I'm patient. Good things do come to those who wait, and those who put the time and effort in. It's gonna come. I promise you. If you put it in and you're darn determined not to let this thing beat you, treat it as a darn game. I'm telling you, that's what this is. It's a game of life, if you want to call it that, or the game of reselling. Whatever you do, I don't care if you work for somebody else, but it's all a game. I treat it that way. It's more fun than thinking of it as a chore. It's not a chore. I don't consider reselling a chore at all. I know when we list a couple hundred items in a day, I'm probably going to add on another $500-600 from those items onto that daily sales. And again, we've already got daily sales to add it to. That's the point. The more we dog down on this, the more we dig in our heels and hammer it. It's going very well. I honestly can't complain about not much. Let me cut off for just a second here. I had an email, and in fact, I've had a couple of them, but somebody else even posted on one of these videos, I think, not too long ago. Hip. Let's talk about the sync with Hip, because I almost call out a name, and I don't want to do it unless I've asked them. Hip sometimes messes up on the sync. I'm straight out. I've already brought it up to them on several occasions. They can listen to my videos, and I've told them before. They know it's happened on at least several occasions, and if it ever happens, I didn't know it. Somebody else thankfully called it out. I know it's happened before. I know what to do at least. This weekend, we're going to shut off the sync on Hip and reactivate it. And if for some reason it doesn't come back in, all you got to do is email the help desk at Hip, and they'll usually get back to you within 24 hours, and they will fix it very quickly, and instantly we were back on it. It took 24 hours last time when it wouldn't resync correctly. I know it's a coding issue, personally, is what I feel, because I know it doesn't happen on other sites. I've addressed it to them personally, myself, I swear to you I have, in the past. And yeah, it is a little bit of a nuisance, but if I have to cancel something on Hip, which I've never had to do yet, but if I would, I wouldn't be bothered like it would be on eBay. If something sells on Hip, instead of using their sync option, I just go take it down, because maybe I got to take down, I think the most we've had in the last 2 weeks that I had to take down in one day was 7 different items from Hip. The rest of them are pretty much auto-synced and stuff, but the Hip one's supposed to be. It doesn't just always work. I always just do it manually just to make sure. Let's just put it that way. So one day I had to do 7 items. That was the worst day in the last 2 weeks was what we sold on Hip. It was a $113 day on Hip. So, again, as long as I'm not messing up my eBay stuff, I'm okay with having to do a little extra here and there, because it's not like an every day I have to worry about it. Maybe once every 3 or 4 months it happens. And again, I know eBay changes stuff, so that could be part of the issue. APIs have had issues. The API that hooks up to Shopify has had some issues, and on and on and on and on. So again, there is some issues with it. I'm telling you, to fix it, turn off it, disconnect the sync, resync it back up. If for some reason it doesn't come back on, just email the help, hit the little help button, and email Hip. I promise you, they've taken care of it every time. I wish they would just fix it ahead of time, but anyway, they're very good about fixing this stuff on there. And if they can't fix it immediately, they've always sent me a notice stating, hey, this, that, and the other. To be honest, I have done some stuff in the past, and they're not promoting me to say a darn thing. I've talked to the owner and, basically the head of tech support and all that. I've talked to the people. They've been very, very helpful, other than the issue with the sync issue. Again, I know there's more to it. I understand the API. I've seen eBay's API, actually. Not too long ago. I was at somebody else's house, and they're actually working on something with the API. You can get it. It's available to anybody. There's actually a secondary behind-the-scenes eBay site. In fact, I might even posted a link to it before, where you can see some of the back-end stuff, and there's some other features there that you'd be surprised are offered. These are like industrial, international company options, but we can use them too. So anyway, I know I'm rambling, but It has been though a long way since ramen noodles. Again, that's going to stick there for a while. There's a little model kit that you can put together. It's a cup of ramen noodles. And it's a puzzle, like a three-dimensional puzzle model kind of thing. I almost thought about getting that because yeah, we had ramen noodles and pizza, and then we're working on our master's degree. It was the same thing, you know. We earned this. I earned this. That's all I'm gonna say. I earned what we just bought. Every damn dime of it, we earned it, and I feel so proud to say that because again, a lot of people, this is just a job. It's a way to make money, but I'm proud of where we've come with this. Just for myself. I don't care if anybody else thinks anything of it. It doesn't matter. To me personally, it's a proud feeling knowing that every dime that I put out there, I earned it. I earned every step of the way that money. No one gave me a single heads up on any of that, or a foot up or a hand up or anything. It's all been us, which again, it's a good feeling. It really is. It hasn't they've signed off on it, Bob. The owner signed off, accepted our offer. They canceled all showings, and it's supposed to show up as contingent, or maybe it may be pending. I think it'll show up right away because we already approved from the bank. There's no waiting on it. They've already ran our income. They've run my pay. They've already ran all 3 credit reports of me, the wife, and the whole works. So everything's, as far as I know, is completely done at the bank. Other than it, I just talked to our mortgage person from it's the same bank I've been with for years. I've called the name of the bank up, but I'm not going to say it here. But so as far as I know, everything should go through. The only thing we have to worry about is the inspection, which, man, the house, I'm telling you, I've seen the paperwork on it. I've seen what was done with it. The guy who had it, when I tell you, once we move in, I'll tell you the backstory behind this place if anybody's interested. It's really interesting, honestly. But I have no worries on that aspect. And the other thing is the appraisal has to come in. We're paying more than $20,000 more than the list price. Put that right out there. We weren't going to lose this one. And it's comparative to some other houses, so we've looked at a lot. Nancy showed us around to quite a few too. So we offered, and we were willing to go more than that. You know, but we also signed appraisal gap for a certain amount that we're willing to shell out to the buyer personally if the appraisal doesn't come in. Now, we could still benefit because depending on where the appraisal comes in, but I didn't care. This one was, the wife was in love with this one. Since we lost the other one, this was the best one we've seen, the nicest. It's turnkey. Here's the key. It's yours. Everything's fine. Excellent condition, and you got nothing to worry about. And that's the key to it. So it's not going to interrupt our business. It's not going to, even here in the winter, because it's got some insanely high BTU heater in the eBay building that's going to heat it up in like 4 minutes, this big building. I mean, it's this monster-sized thing, apparently. I haven't seen it on, but, you know, I know it works. I trust everything they've said so far. Where are we at? Ray, I don't understand why they wouldn't have asked for a final offer unless they were just using you to pump up. So I said we got played. We got played with that with the log cabin. The only other thing that I would put out there, legally they don't have to tell me, but we thought we were in a good faith negotiation with the home seller and the listing agent. To be honest with you, and so did my real estate agent. Nancy thought the same thing we did. It was a done deal. She even told me she already wrote it off as sold. And I thought it was sold. I thought it was ours. I was listing that day when she called, and it was Sunday. She was out with her family eating when she called us. If that tells you how dedicated she was to the whole process. And anyway, there's a couple stipulations. If somebody's buying a house in cash, they'll take it every time. They'll take it every time. Why? You can close. You need no appraisals, no inspections, nothing. You don't have to do anything if it's cash. Just the attorneys handle it. The title and all that stuff, it's all handled that way. You just exchanging cash. So they could have come in. We had contingencies. We had inspections. I wanted to know well. I wanted to know septic. I wanted to know pest because it was almost 170-year-old log cabin. You know, when I walked under it and all that stuff, you know, we inspected everything, you know, ourselves. I know pretty good on house remodeling, so I wasn't too worried. But they might not have asked for anything. But they sure as hell, in my book, we were under negotiations. We already offered a secondary price. And we already said, hey, we're really interested. And then they lied about there being no other offers. No. The house we got, there was 5 other people bidding against it. It only had been up for 6 hours by that point. So we put out for it. We shelled out. We went more than 20,000 over the list price. You know, and again, we had the escalation. It was an escalation offer. So we said if we'll beat whoever's offer by this amount, any offer that comes in up until this amount, and we didn't have to go up to our top dollar. So I was very happy too. We got it farther down than that, but we were willing to go way up on it if that was the case, because we already lost two in one day. I lost two houses in one day because of that. When the log cabin, we lost the log cabin, they screwed us. We passed on looking at another one. There was another one that showed up that Friday, and that Friday the second offer we placed on the house, because they're like, nah, it's not quite there. So we came back and we said, yeah, we're really interested. These people would take care of it, the cat. We talked. I mean, everything looked awesome. We had it as far as we were concerned, and then they pulled it out at the end. But I wasn't going to let that happen again. But that Friday another house came up, and the market around here, they're up for like a day or less. If you're not the first one in there and you like it, you got to get that offer in. Before we walked into the house I already told Nancy, I says, look, have all the paperwork ready. From the pictures, if it looks like it does and the building inside looks like it's supposed to, it's ours. We want it. Whatever. You want $5,000 down payment, good faith deposit, whatever. You tell me what you want and we'll do it. And she told us everything we'd probably have to do money-wise. We'd have to go up. We'd have to do more than they're asking and all this stuff. And we still, if we wouldn't have done the escalation, they would have got us. They would have got us if we wouldn't, because our initial offer was a set amount, and we actually ended up paying more than the initial offer by a decent chunk. But I'm fine with that. Again, I'm fine with that. Again, I understand how the process works. She explained everything to us. We read through every document, line by line, and stuff. As you know, I'm retentive on that. So again, it's a tough market, but around here, if it's a good property, it's got the building. Everybody's trying to buy a building now. All the ones with buildings were quick gone. All the property was quick gone. At one time, for like almost 3 weeks, there was only like 3 properties with more than 1.5 acres out there. All the rest were like under 1 acre, 10,000 square feet lots and stuff. And it's just, no way, I can't do that. Because there's another building besides the one I showed everybody out there. So there's another building that's going to be casting in the woodworking shop as well. And stuff, and the resin, our 3D printers will be in there and all that stuff too, probably. And there's a massive propane tank that's owned. The house has all new washer and dryer, the real nice glass window, real nice ones. Almost a brand new refrigerator. So they're all stainless too. The refrigerator, the stove, the dishwasher, they all match. The guy who had the house spent some money on it. The new roof, new siding. I couldn't have asked for a brand new in the last 2 years, central air and heat. The whole house. Again, the house was built in like 1900. So, anyway, it's you never know it by looking at it. But anyway, I know I'm rambling. I'm really excited still. Hang on, I think I messed up my own feed. Yep, my feed just bounced. Let me see if I can get to where we were at. I know I'm rambling. I probably won't get to everybody at all. Oh, actually, I did find where we're at. I can't believe it. Odds and Ends Hunter, well, welcome, and again, thank you again. Black Crystal Dice, how are you doing? Thank you. Hey, Michelle, how are you doing? Thank you as well. I Run Amok, welcome. Carving Cards. It is what we want. Not what I wanted that log cabin. I wish, if you saw it, if you walked in there, we went up to Boston, and we spent some time. We slept at the House of Seven Gables and all that stuff. We went into all kinds of houses this looks like the colonial style house. It's a real log cabin that's been in the family since 1860. It's never been on the market. It probably never will again. That's why I was so bothered that it was pulled out from underneath our feet. Easy come, easy go, I guess. Stephen PB, well, thank you very, very, very kindly. It may not necessarily be a forever home, but it will be in our family forever. The wife, we saw a A-frame, really fabulous, modernistic. Anyway, we want more land with a lot more trees without permanent-wise, but we'll keep this one again. I could see living here forever, though, so don't get me wrong, but Cosmic Examiner, the log cabin would have been my forever home. I would have never, they'd have to drug me out of that place. Because it was just the ground, the land, the property was just around here. That was like a rarity. You'll never see something like that. I would be shocked as can be if I ever saw something like that again. You know, because we've been looking for a long time. Maybe not hard looking like we were the last 90 days or so, but anyway. Again, thank you, Cosmic Examiner. Jim Lloyd, how are you doing? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's see if I can do this without making my feed bounce all over. Jackie Jack Enterprises, how are you doing? Ellen Dean, well, thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Jackie Jack. All I can think about is our dog, as we call him Jackie and Jack quite often. Is that the hours you put into the YouTube all while working a full-time reselling job? I do work 7 days a week for the most part. I'm not going to lie. I usually work 12 or 14-hour days, Monday through Friday. I probably work half a day on Saturday. Again, we can take off. I don't. If I take off and we do something for 3 or 4 hours, the wife will go to the park or something. I make that time up. Again, I track my time. I know where my time is at, and that's what most people don't do. They waste time on stupid things. Well, it's not always stupid things. I don't want to insult anybody, because that's not the point. The meaning is that a lot of people waste time and they don't realize they're wasting time. I'd rather just work really hard for a bunch of hours, be done, and never have to come back and look at that stuff, you know. And that's just my take on it. It does take a lot of time to do everything that we do, but you know, I like doing this. I'm a hyper person. My legs bounce all the time. I got restless leg syndrome, or whatever you want to call it. But you know, hang on just a second. Hang on just a second. Sorry, I've got somebody on the road right now. Okay. My oldest just found out. I don't know if you'll see this. I don't know if the green screen might green it out. I don't know. Let me see if you can see this. I don't know. My son's sense of humor. Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to see it. Nah, you won't be able to see it. Sorry. It's got green text on there. I just wanted you to see what it said. But my son's... hang on. There's my realtor right there. I'm sorry. 1 second. We have the contract. I have the contract. I wish this would show up. This is from my realtor. I don't think it shows anything. I've showed her business card, so I don't think it would be secret showing my realtor's name. She's with Remax. Oops. That's the last ones are the ones I got with the convo on the house. So just FYI. This is the convo. I was scared. We were nervous. I don't know if you can see that, but that's me telling her, okay, just nervous on losing it, because we already lost 2, 3, kind of. But so I was nervous. We've been nervous because we were supposed to. There was a deadline by noon. Highest takes it noon this today. So again, I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep talking about this, but this is all that's on our mind right now. The wife and I will be talking about it till we're in that house. So anyway, it's been a great day. We were nerve-wracked because I don't want to say something. I don't want to say all the details until after it's done. I promise you, Marty, it's all coming. We're building I'll show you, Marty, behind the scenes what I'm putting together once we get there. That's, again, space is my biggest factor. I've been talking about having to liquidate. The only way I could have done some things is to get rid of a bunch of merchandise. But now I don't have to do it. You know, because we hit the space. My father's workshop is where most of the stuff stays. My father passed when I was 17. That's been a long time ago. He had a big cabinetry. He used to do all kinds of cabinetry. He used to do upholstery. That is all full. And it's 25 minutes one way for me to take stuff there. It's free. I don't have to pay storage fees, though. So, again, I can rectify that issue. My table saws over there, my routers, all my cabinetry equipment's going over there. I've done all that stuff, and I can't wait to build cubbies and shelving and a 14 square foot table in the middle of this room for, you know, all kinds of stuff. You know, it's something I can stand on and use for videos as well as listing. Again, and everything we're going to do is going to be movable. You know, I'm going to have my Star Wars backdrop, a real one of these days, for some other projects we've been working on. But I'm not going to get away from doing what we're doing here. I'm just going to be very happy. That's all I can say. It'll be a 10-year dream that's finally come here, where I've got a office space, a building big enough that's like bigger than a house, you know. And I can't wait. That's all I can say. I'm ecstatic. Let's see where we at. Nova Crow's Nest, welcome. Twisted, well, thank you very kindly also. Yeah, I'll show you. You'll get to see some behind the scenes there, Marty. I'll show some videos. We get to be there when the inspector's there, and our realtor's going to be there, and then we're going to be there for 2 other days, for a few other unrelated housing things too. So just FYI. Let's see here. Rebecca of Pollywog Flats. Space. It's all about space. Let me know. Let me know, Bob, on that. Let me know. That's my best recommendation on that Lincoln. Again, there's a chance that that's not correct, but I really believe it based on what we see. There's no lines. It's not an engraving. Everything else seems to stand by what I was told. And it's an auction, so if it is pricey, 10 days should do it. I would try to end that on, Sunday is always usually the best day to have it end on, but got space to fill, yes. Yeah, I don't have to have something immaculate. I don't have to have something, $1 million. I don't care. My family didn't have a lot of money when I grew up, so I'm not embarrassed to have something. And I don't care if somebody has a $1 million house and they think they're better than me. I could care less. The house you have means nothing as to the person or character you are. Nothing. Let's see here. Alicia Curtis, well, thank you. Disgruntled Octopus, how you doing? Everything is super well. New to you provisions, thank you. So reselling with Yahoo Auctions and AOL. The other one, chat room. Yeah, that's exactly the other one. Now I'm in my 21st year of eBay. Same thing. We're well over 25 years on eBay, basically. San Mullen. So remember the side panel station wagon? I was a youngster of 7. I got the very back. Yeah, we sat in the back. We used to go to the drive-in theater, Miracle Mile Drive-in movie theater here in Toledo is where we used to go. And then when my grandparents were older, they moved out of the house and went to an apartment, and it was right behind the Miracle Mile Drive-in theater. And we used to spend the night, and if you had a radio, an AM radio, you could pick up the sound from the drive-in. Excuse me. And we could watch the movie from their porch, their balcony, and they were the third floor of a retirement hotel, not a hotel, like an apartment complex. So we could hear it and watch R-rated movies when I was like 7 or 8, sitting on the back their balcony. Anyway, a lot of good fond memories. But my parents used to take us in there. It was like a pea green with faux wood, and then the wood had like a light border around it of a lighter color. I remember that to the day I die. I'll remember that, because it was a big old boat, But that was fairly new for that time frame. It wasn't like an old thing. That's just what was around then in the 70s. Well, Mr. Lowe, thank you very kindly. I do appreciate that. Honestly, I do. ScanSnap is faster, but Epson jams less with good rollers. Well, thanks for the info. I have not seen the ScanSnap, Aaron. I just love the Epson. I don't know. Ours works fine. I've never had it jam. Well, again, if we're putting in something screwy or something, maybe once in a blue moon. But hey, Peddling Profits, how you doing? Good evening. Sales started off great after Xmas and have been slacking every day. We've just been listing a lot more, I guess. We've literally listed like 1,000 listings in just a matter of a few days, and it's been flying. And we can keep up that pace with the way we've got it all staggered right now. I think we've got everything. I've got employees back. One's out of school. He graduates shortly. So we'll be rolling. We'll have somebody still taking pictures, and so all we'll be doing is listing, and it should go very well. Thank you, Are You Bizarre? Yeah, hit the thumbs up if you hadn't slammed that thumbs up. Share, like, the whole works. I do appreciate it. We got 97 thumbs up. I got 167 people in house as of right now. I always forget calling that out. I know. I'm terrible on that. Renting is horrible. Yes. And the prices of rental, you're just throwing your money away. And we did it for a long time just because it was convenient. We didn't have a down payment. The down payment's if you don't have 20% down, you're paying even more because you have to pay mortgage insurance. If something happens to you, the mortgage is covered. So you're paying a couple $100 extra a month every month until you get a down payment of 20%. We're close to the 40% mark on the down payment we're doing, all cash, because I don't want to have to do the mortgage insurance. Look it up. we did everything, set it up right. We knew the process. I looked into it. I researched it. I called some friends, somebody I knew who was a real estate agent, not here, so her license isn't any good here. But anyway, we've bought a house before, so I knew the basics. But thank goodness Nancy had all the ins and outs and how to scoop in there and get stuff that other agents may not have thought of, like the escalation policy, the appraisal gap. Again, that's a big thing for a seller, because he might take an offer and the bank might not give the people enough money. At least he's going to get a set amount over it if the appraisal doesn't come in good. So those are all factors that I'm glad she pointed out. I'm glad everything worked out the way it did. So as soon as I get off here, it's back down to reading over some documents that she just sent me just about 20 minutes ago. Yeah, I've always had the dream of having the building. Having a workshop would be great. My father had our garage, and it was a two. Well, it was like a. We had, when I was a kid, our garage was like a 1.5 car, but they only put the one car in there, and the other half was like his cabinetry, and there was a porch, a screened porch, and my father expanded on that and built that into the garage, and then he used to build cabinets out there in one part of the season, and then he would do car upholstery, as well too. So he was a hustler when I was a kid and stuff, and he did that from as far as till I was like till he passed away almost. So I grew up, in a hustling environment, I guess. My dad built the 2-story addition onto our house when I was a kid. I helped build it. He built the living room furniture, the cabinetry, and everything. He built the kitchen cabinets. He built their dresser and their own. The dresser my mom still uses was built by my dad. I got bookcases here I built, the old colonial style with the fluted column sides. I love doing that stuff. I built the cabinets myself in the house we lived in Hickory. I built all the kitchen. I took a class at Meridian Community College on cabinetry, and then I did some cabinetry for 6 months with somebody else working on a Victorian house in Meridian. And anyway, I love doing cabinets. I've got all the kits. I've got all the cabinetry kits, the joiners. I can't think what the other one is. What's it called? Drills the little holes, and I can't think what it's called. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I'm sure somebody knows what I'm talking about in the cabinetry with the screws and the little stopgap angle. I can't think what it is, but they're hidden pocket screws. That's what it is. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I had to worry about that. I can't wait to get into it. Yeah, I mentioned what is it required for reselling in the first minute of the show, honestly, which has to do with the house. Sourcing treasures, saw the update with the realtor days ago, and it's all going so fast. Congratulations. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. We've worked our butt off for it. BJB, do you know of a way to combine shipping for the EIS program? After purchase, a customer candidate asked me to send her an invoice for 2 items, and there was no way. It can't be done as far as I know. You'd have to cancel it and then reset it up. eBay is combining global shipping now, if you didn't know that. So we've been doing okay on global shipping now. In fact, we had like a $200 week just in global shipping from several different people. They're now combining them. They're combining them. So I'm like, well, wait a minute. It's asking for one lot. So eBay combines global shipping now too. They did finally do something on that, which I was really happy to see, because there's China items. I saw a pretty decent amount of China items. The China items usually go to like places I don't want to ship to. So anyway. Veronica 11, well, thank you. Farsack Jack, how are you doing? New beginning, new memories, and your business will grow even more. Happy for you and your family. Well, thank you very kindly, Peddling Profits. I do appreciate that. I can't wait. I'm sorry. I can't wait. The ability to have stuff like with art projects, a lot of times I can't do certain things because I can't leave them setting somewhere. If we got a big massive lot comes in, I usually sort it before I take them over to my father's workshop. So that means they're sitting here, and sometimes the whole kitchen's been full, the living room's been full, dining room, everywhere, hallways, everywhere. And again, that'll never happen again. Nothing for reselling is going to be in the house ever again at this point, the way it's looking. So that's the biggest part of it. Closing won't be till February 23rd. And then we've offered to give, I'm not going to go into the detail, but you'll hear it. I promise everybody's going to hear why we have to wait past the closing date. We offered. Now you'll see why, and hopefully I'll be able to video why. Anyway, it's pretty cool. I'll just say that it's pretty cool. Let me pop on down. I'm cheesed off that eBay hold my money for a month before releasing it to me. Veronica 11. If you're new, I've heard of them doing that. I've heard of glitches. I've heard of also where there was issues with the transferring from your bank and stuff like that. To be honest with you, eBay, since we've had managed payments, there's only been one time where they locked our account, and I called, and within, maybe it was locked all of 7 or 8 hours, maybe, if at that, just once. And yes, we did at one point have to send a photocopy of our driver's license to eBay. It didn't bother me. I had to do it for Amazon. I've had to do it for other places as well too. So it didn't bother me. I would recommend doing it. I wouldn't think of it as scary. eBay does, do the bank deposits to there, but we set up a separate bank just for the deposits, a business account, one of many. And there's no way they can touch the rest of our money and all that kind of stuff too. So I've never had an issue other than that one time. It was a security, whatever. They cleared it up. They apologized and all that kind of stuff. I'm fine. I would rather have them take the extra step. PayPal's closed us down a couple times until they got a response from us. And I've talked about it over buttons once before and over something else once other time. But it was no big, huge ordeal. I don't know your take on it. I don't know what the issue was, but overall, I've not had the big issues everybody talks about with managed payments. I'm paying $1,200 less a year now than what I was before managed payments took over because of the ZIFs, the zero insertion fees. I can't complain. I can't complain about it. How could I complain? I was saving us like $12,000 a year in fees. Yeah, there's Kelly. If it's a new eBay store, they do the same thing. No, I'm in Australia with 100% feedback. Been selling for years. It seems to depend on the seller giving feedback, and most of the time buyers don't even give feedback. So I think it's 30 days. Well, I don't know. I'm not sure what the detail is. So are available within 2 days of the sale. Same here. I would imagine they probably contact because money's one thing. Sold on 16th January, said they will pay out on 17th if the buyer likes the item. Depends on what the item is, and I've heard of that now. If you're selling something high dollar or it's in one of their programs where you have to send it in, you could have some time hold on it. If you're sending it into authentication, there's a hold on them. I know that for sure. I've had people send in the stuff. I've heard it from many, many different people. Hey, Dave, Midwest Picker, how you doing? Good to see you in house, too. ATEC Nasus. You have a great, wonderful evening, blessed with beautiful accomplishments and achievements, great success. Hang on, I can't read that all. Sunshine, smiles, you can enjoy it. Well, thank you very kindly. I appreciate that. I'm not consistent with eBay sales because item specifics are too hard. I prefer Facebook Marketplace, but I've always done the right thing by customers. Yeah, I can't say. I don't want to speculate on Veronica's issue there, but I can't. I despise Facebook around here. I hate it. I hate it. I don't like to go on Facebook. I haven't bought anything on the marketplace. Every single time I've went to buy something to resell, it's been another reseller. And sometimes it's even stuff that I sold at auction here locally that they're trying to pawn off that I know they're lying about. So, it's not on search material when they bought it at an auction for stuff that I put up at the auction, a local antique auction. So, yeah. Welcome, Crystal Anderson. Did I miss Craig Landshark Picker in here? I don't know. My feed's all over again, but yeah, I gave up on item specifics. I tried my darndest to do the right thing with eBay, and there's just no way. They disappear so much. Even if I don't end and sell similar, sometimes I'll put them in, and I got to put them right in again. I'm done with the recommended, and it doesn't seem to affect it anymore. The majority of people have them in. I've got the majority of the item specifics in that are useful, but I'm not going to put in color of a gold button. It already says gold in there. So anyway, stuff like that. Hey, Daryl, Carolina Picks. Good to see you in the house. Hopefully everything's doing well on your end. Hey, Murray, how are you doing? Murray Zuckerman. Yeah, I think I'm about to the end here. One of the major challenges for any reseller facing is medical expenses, getting good medical coverage, decent dental. You're going to have to, insurance is going to cost you for a couple around $900 max for a decent policy a month. I'm just going to be straight up with you. That's what it's going to cost you. There's enough packages out there. You can get some help. You can get some reductions in fees and stuff like that. But it's worth that $1,000 for a couple to have dental and the whole works. And insurance policy, life insurance would be good too. So that's another $62 or so for a couple a month, depending on your age and all that stuff. But Applebee's Attic Treasures. Well, thank you. Yeah, medical is a challenge. I promise you. It took us some while to get to a good point with coverage, dental and stuff. The only thing I can say these days, in the past, a root canal, no matter where you go, is like $1,000. These days, we can just afford to shell the cash if the insurance isn't going to cover it. So I don't care. At least we've moved to a spot where it's not as much of a, it's not a concern. I guess I should say. Medical is a little different. Dental, though, I can cover at least. Alfonso, have you done a video on matchbooks? Several. You say March books, but I'm assuming you're meaning matchbooks. I came into a collection of 1940s matchbooks, been putting them up in the past few days. Yeah, I've even talked about them on Patreon and YouTube membership videos. We've sold matchbooks. I think the top I ever got for a matchbook maybe was in the $250 range, and that was for a feature matchbook. Those are the best ones, usually, not always. I just had a video on Patreon about matchbooks and showing some of the ones to look for, specific ones. There's some very specific ones that'll always sell if you get the right ones. Yeah, if you're not consistent and have few listings, yes. That would probably be the case too. Hang on, my feed just bounced. Darn it. Hang on, my feed. I'm seeing if I can figure it out. I was just in a spot. Hang on, where are we at? Hang on, I'm trying to get to one more question. Paperpalooza, I think they're talking about Whatnot, if I'm not mistaken, John Doe. We've sold on Whatnot like 4 or 5 times. I'm just not big thrill on Whatnot. I get far more selling it somewhere else, to be honest with you, all the time, every time. I'd rather even invest the time, and because I went over the time. I did a video on our Whatnot experience, how much time put in, and wrap time and all that stuff, and it just dollar for dollar, I make way more, like 2 or 3 times per hour I make on eBay than I do on Whatnot any day of the week. When I count in, I have to get it ready. I'm doing a 3-hour show, and I don't care if it's live and it's sold immediately. I put up enough stuff a day, I can instantly do more than that just by listing for that same amount of time on eBay, and then I'll have permanent listings up as opposed to just blowing something out. Again, I know it works great for some people, but I don't mess with the biggest things on there are like cards, trading cards, and Funko Pops, and comic books and stuff like that. I know other stuff sells, but around here I can sell. I'll give you an insider from me. I can do better by just taking the same items I would sell on Whatnot down to my local antique auction that they do once or twice a week and have them sell it for me. Even with them taking the commission out, I come out ahead every single time. Every single time over Whatnot. My experience, may not be everybody's, but I don't have to do anything. I can just take it to an auction. When I calculate the time, having to hire somebody to help out and packing up in the morning, it's a 5-hour event almost, just the auction. If it's 3 hours, you got an hour set up, stack up, build, pull it together. You're talking a 6-hour, 7 hours maybe, counting ship time. If we sold a bunch, it's still equated to $500 or some screwy lowball number for us, and it just wasn't worth it. I can just take it down to the local antique auction. And what happens when I take it down to the local antique auction? Here's the inside secret. Other resellers are thinking that's good material, and they buy it at the local live auctions for good money, and I make better money selling it that way. That's the truth. So again, that's just my take on it. You may not have a source to be able to do that, but it's cutthroat. People bid way up without investigating around here. I'm not pricing it. I just give it to somebody else, and they take care of all the other aspects of it. Take your 20 or 30% commission. I could care less because I'm still coming out better than if I wasted the time on whatnot. You know, unless you've got the in-demand cards, Pokemon or something, or your Chumley, you know, or something like that. It's not for me, I guess. I may still do one, but it's just not for me. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. The dogs are going to be going crazy in just a moment here. Yes, on whatnot. That's what I figured. Anyway, well, I appreciate everybody coming on tonight. I will have some updates. I got another video. For those in Patreon, it's not even uploaded yet. So at this point, my son's probably home from work. So he just found out about the house. So we're probably going to end up talking and explaining the whole details. So I will have the video up tomorrow, I promise. It's the last 7 days of our sales. Every single one. We're going to go over. We're going to talk about strategies. We're going to talk about what works for Patreon. That'll be up on YouTube membership the weekend as well. So you're not going to miss it. But again, you'll see the straight dope. You know, I've had people make mock comments and say, I don't do this, I don't do that. I'm going to show you, and we'll be done with that. And again, anyway, I don't want to get into it. We'll just, it makes me laugh when I think about what some people have said and try to badmouth me and the wife. But anyway, I'm the one walking away with a very nice house, land, and an eBay building. So anyway, we'll let it go at that. I appreciate everybody coming on. Marty, I promise you'll have an insider on that. You'll get to see it anyway. And I might even have someone come by the house. Maybe we'll invite over a couple other YouTube resellers, and you know, they can spend the night or something. We'll see. But I'll let you all go. I do appreciate everybody coming on tonight. I honestly and sincerely do. If you haven't hit that thumbs up, please slam the thumbs up for us. I will see everybody next week. I've got a video coming up here. It's a bolo. It's a bolo for tomorrow.